Wow, what a day out there. Finally seeing some proper sunshine. Or am I just imagining it after all that gray?
Well, don't get too used to it. My weather app says plummeting temperatures are next. But speaking of surprises, we've got something really interesting today.
Oh, yeah.
We've got this whole stack of sources all pointing to one title, The Emperor of Gladness.
Okay, sounds intriguing.
But here's the thing, and this is where it gets wild. It's not just one book. We're talking about material for two totally different books. Same exact title.
Wait, really? Two completely different stories? How does that even happen?
Exactly. So our mission today, for you listening, is to kind of unpack that. How can one title hold two such, well, opposite narratives? And what does it tell us about gladness itself?
Ah, okay, like how context just changes everything.
Precisely. It's a fascinating look at what contentment or gladness really means.
All right, let's dive in. Where do we start? With the first emperor.
Let's. So the first Emperor of Gladness is by David-R/Slavitt. On the surface, it's historical fiction, ancient Rome.
Okay, togas and temples.
Sort of, but not really. Peel it back, and it's actually this really sharp philosophical satire. It's full of irony, a lot of quiet despair, actually.
Okay, interesting. So who's the emperor?
Well, he's fictional. Imagine, the deep thinking of Marcus Aurelius.
Right.
Mixed with the sort of neurotic vibe of Woody Allen.
Okay, I can picture that.
And maybe the quiet sadness of, a slightly depressed librarian.
Wow, what a combo.
Yeah, he's smart, super lonely, emotionally just numb. But somehow you kind of get him. He rules this huge empire, but gets nothing about real connection or, actual happiness.
So that's the satire part. Having everything but feeling nothing.
Exactly. So the paradox, right?
Right.
Ultimate power, endless luxury. And it just leads to this deep, internal hollowness. The sources really hammer this point. The more gold, the best grapes, the women, all that imperial stuff.
The less he feels anything.
Yeah. It's like the wells run dry.
Wow.
He even says it himself. Something like, it is not that I am unhappy. It is that I am aware of happiness, which is worse.
Oof. That's bleak. Aware of happiness is worse.
Yeah, it's like the idea of happiness is a burden because he can't actually feel it.
Okay, you gotta laugh though. Bro had a whole empire and still couldn't find a hobby. Someone get him a therapist. Or maybe a fidget spinner.
Right. He's ruling the world, but his biggest problem is existential boredom in his fancy bath. It's very ancient world problems meet modern ennui.
Totally. Like those moody billionaires you see who seem to have everything but just look miserable.
Exactly. And for him, this detachment, it actually becomes almost comforting. He sees desire as pointless because what's left to want when you have it all?
Right. Where do you go from there?
He has this line, when the babs are too warm, the Greeks too sweet, and the women too eager, there is nothing left but thinking.
Just thinking, trapped in his own head.
Pretty much. The whole novel is basically his inner monologue. It's philosophical, sure, but also incredibly sarcastic. He undercuts everything he says.
Like what?
Oh, he goes on about how pointless orgies are, or says things like, to govern is to pretend that decisions matter. Just peak cynicism.
No. He sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
But also kind of hilarious.
It's definitely darkly funny and really well written. But yeah, maybe not for everyone. It's more for people who like that quiet, brainy exploration of how weird humans can be.
Honestly, when he says, I'm not unhappy, I'm just aware of happiness, that's literally me after watching 8 hours of reality TV. You consume so much emptiness, you just feel aware.
I feel that, though he probably had better snacks.
Probably. So yeah, if you've ever felt dead inside while thriving, or noticed how having too much stuff or comfort can just numb you out, this emperor might be your guy. You might be the Emperor of Gladness without even knowing it.
Okay, so hold that thought, that feeling of emptiness and excess. Because now we need to talk about the other Emperor of Gladness.
Right, the second book, by Ocean Vuong.
By Ocean Vuong. And prepare yourself because the contrast is, well, it's jarring. How can this title mean something so completely different?
Okay, I'm ready. So, Ocean Vuong, known for incredible poetry, right? And exploring that loneliness of class movement.
That's him. And this novel, it just throws you straight into East Gladness, Connecticut. It's this post-industrial town, really gritty, feels like a character itself, forgotten by its country, blue collar, lots of struggle.
A world away from ancient Rome, then.
Completely. And our protagonist is Hai. He's 19, Vietnamese American, a college dropout, deeply depressed. We meet him on a bridge, thinking about ending things.
Oh, wow. Heavy start.
Very. But he's interrupted. Not by some big dramatic event, but by Grazina. She's 82, a Lithuanian refugee, a widow, and she has dementia, lives in this little house by the river.
An unlikely meeting.
Totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And their connection, the sources say, it has this miraculous lack of sentimentality. Apparently, Wrong drew on his own experience caring for his grandmother.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So Hai becomes her caregiver. He gets a place to live. She gets someone there. It's this quiet trade-off. His patience, her just being there. It slowly starts to pull him back a bit.
So it's not like a sudden cure, but more like holding on.
Exactly. You nailed it. It's a holding on arc. It's about choosing to endure, choosing to care even when it's hard.
Okay. And there's another found family too, right? At his job.
Yeah, he gets a job at this place called Home Market. It's one of those fast casual spots where made by hand means heating up stuff from a bag.
Oh, one of those places.
Yeah, food cooked nearly a year ago in a laboratory outside Des Moines, as one source puts it. Grim.
Oh.
But he forms these really intense, maybe temporary, but real bonds with his coworkers.
What are they like?
It's all about the grind, the shared exhaustion. The sources even mention how they knew each other by smell, like Johnson & Johnson, baby lotion for burns, someone smelling faintly of whiskey, bootleg Tom Ford, strawberry Starburst, those little details.
Wow, that's vivid. It paints a picture of just getting through it together.
It really does. It's about showing up for yourself and others when everything tells you not to.
So what are the big themes here, besides survival?
Well, it's a deep look at hard work in America and how it often doesn't pay off, you know? How maybe the only way out for these characters feels like winning the lottery or an inheritance or maybe, just maybe, a union.
The sort of systemic trap.
Exactly. And it weaves in grief, memory, labor, the echoes of war, the immigrant experience, addiction, Hayes' own quiet journey with his sexuality. It's layered.
And it critiques American life too, you said.
Oh, definitely. The sources point out how Wang looks unflinchingly at things. Violence, how addicts are treated, the way wars are idolized, the prison system, cheap food, ignoring the homeless, abandoning the elderly, it's all there.
But it's not just bleak.
No, not at all. Amidst all that toughness, there's so much humanity, there's dignity in the small things, grace found in just living through it. Like Rosina says, and this quote really sticks with you, to be alive and try to be a decent person and not turn it into anything big or grand, that's the hardest thing of all.
Wow, that hits hard. Not turn it into anything big or grand.
Right. Just decency. Just being human.
In Wang's writing, you said it's poetic.
Oh, incredibly. It's lyrical, so tender, but also really raw and precise. That signature Wang style, mixing grit with grace. It's the kind of book that makes you stop and just absorb it. It stays with you.
Okay, so two Emperors of Gladness, one drowning in luxury and boredom.
Finding only emptiness and having too much.
And the other struggling with basically nothing, finding connection and dignity in hardship and small acts of caring.
Exactly. It's such a stark contrast, isn't it?
It's wild. Can we just picture the Roman emperor trying to work a shift at Home Market? He'd probably write a whole scroll about the existential horror of the microwave beep.
He might find the honesty refreshing after all the imperial pretense. No time for navel-gazing when the friar needs cleaning.
True. But seriously, what does gladness even mean then? It's like two different words.
It almost feels like it. For Slavitt's Emperor, gladness is this abstract thing, this idea that knowing about it ruins it.
Yeah.
He only gets it by its absence maybe, or it's just performative.
Right. And for Wang's characters?
For them, gladness isn't some big, shiny prize. It's fleeting moments of relief, maybe, mercy. It's the dignity you find in just enduring, the quiet wins and a tough reality. It's showing up, that connection.
So one is the absence of bad stuff, maybe, and the other is finding good stuff within the bad.
That's a great way to put it. It totally reframes what we think of as contentment.
Okay, this feels like a good time for that game you mentioned.
Perfect. Let's play gladiator or therapist. I give you a quote, you tell me if it's our Roman emperor or maybe some modern self-help guru. Ready?
Ready, let's do it.
Okay, first one. It is not that I am unhappy, it is that I am aware of happiness, which is worse. Gladiator or therapist?
Okay, the aware of happiness part sounds a bit therapy speak, like mindfulness gone wrong. But that punchline, which is worse, that's pure Roman despair. Way too bleak for a therapist. Gotta be gladiator.
Nailed it. That weary cynicism is the giveaway. Okay, next. To govern is to pretend that decisions matter.
Oh, that's easy. Gladiator. 100%. No therapist is telling you your choices are pointless. That's peak. I rule the world and it's all meaningless energy.
Exactly. All right, last one. When the baths are too warm, the grates too sweet, and the women too eager, there is nothing left but thinking.
Huh. That's specificity. The over-the-top luxury described with utter boredom. That is classic Roman emperor. A therapist might talk about external validation being empty, but not like that. Gladiator, final answer.
You're 3 for 3. It's that unique blend of extreme privilege and profound boredom.
Okay, that was fun. And it perfectly leads into this idea of modern emptiness, right? Our couch of sadness segment.
Let's do it. What are some modern things, peak luxury or success, that still leave people feeling hollow, like our emperor?
I mean, influencer culture is the first thing that pops into my head. These perfect lives, online travel, designer stuff, looking amazing.
Right, the ultimate curated gladness.
Exactly. But then you hear about the burnout, the pressure, the loneliness behind the scenes. It's all performance, no substance. It's the Roman emperor with a ring light instead of an empire.
That's so true. Or just the pressure to have it all, the perfect career, perfect family, perfect house. You tick all the boxes society gives you, and then you get there and think, wait, is this it? Why don't I feel happy?
Yeah, that is this all there is feeling.
Yeah.
That's total emperor on Wayne. It's the burden of achieving the dream and finding it empty.
And weirdly, it connects back to Hai in the other book too, right? He's got the opposite problem, the struggle just to survive, to find any dignity in a system that feels crushing.
It really is two sides of the same coin. Too much or too little, both leading to this kind of spiritual ache, numbness.
Well put. So for you listening, maybe think about which emperor resonates more, or maybe, like us, you see bits of both in modern life. Is your search for gladness about dealing with too much or fighting for enough?
It's a lot to think about. We've basically seen how one title, The Emperor of Gladness, can hold these two massive opposing ideas about life.
Yeah, the burden of having everything and the struggle to find grace when you have almost nothing.
It really shows how just putting two things side by side can give you totally new insights. These books force you to ask what really matters.
Absolutely. It brings us back to that wisdom from Grazina in Wang's novel.
I'll say it again, it's so good.
To be alive and try to be a decent person and not turn it into anything big or grand, that's the hardest thing of all.
So the final thought for you maybe is just that. What does gladness actually mean to you when you strip away the big, grand ideas? When it's found in the everyday, maybe even just in the act of enduring, of being decent.
What are those quiet acts, those small moments of care or resilience that shape your sense of contentment, especially when things feel overwhelming? Something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.